moving along towards the end of it. So today we're going to work a little bit more on the twisting, and then we'll put some of that twisty turn back in at the end. So you're going to come and lie down, and your abdominals, which got a bit of a workout yesterday, are now going to get a little bit of a twist and a stretch. So I want you, there's a few things we want to just play with. We're going to do the figure 4 stretch first, and then take that into a twisting stretch for the abdominal wall. So can you just a few times pull that right knee in towards you, let the foot come down, see where the leg can come to without you needing to flatten your lower back into the floor, without you needing to slide the pelvis up on one side, or without you needing to sit all your weight into one bum cheek. Then the next time you've brought the leg in, hold there, and now you're going to start to play with turning the leg out and bringing it back to parallel. And in this turned out position, again, I want you just to monitor the pelvis, because part of that twist and turn requires you to be able to bring your leg through and under the other side. And although in that the leg and the pelvis do work together, there's some degree of motion that's needed in that hip joint. So you want to see here, when you're rotating the leg out, do you have to do it by skewing the pelvis off? And then what can you do that means your pelvis stays completely still and quiet while this thigh bone turns? Now plant your ankle onto your left thigh and then take it off. And if you do that a few times, you might notice that there's a heap of things you're doing to get the ankle over there that you've not really thought about. So it might be that your left knee is falling in. It might be that you tip your lower back into the floor, that you skew the pelvis up. Once you see it, can you minimize what you're doing? So you may have to do some of those things to achieve the movement that's being asked of you. But if you minimize what you're doing, you'll start to work a little more deeply into areas that might need a bit of dusting out. So the next time you've got your ankle across your thigh, I want you to stay there. Now from here, you're going to bring your left arm out to the side like a letter T, and your right arm up to the ceiling. And then you're just going to allow your whole body to take a twist over towards the left. When you get there, instead of letting your right knee collapse downward to the floor, can you open it up toward the ceiling? And if no matter how much on your side you've got, you can't quite get this left foot down, then another time when you do this, put something under the foot to bring the floor to it. Now take your right arm back behind you, let your head turn and look back along that arm. Then from here, although unless you're very bendy, you're probably not going to be able to bring these right ribs at the back of the body down to the floor. If you just hang out here and take some breaths, can you tune in to what, if any, of this right side is down on the floor? And imagine that your whole purpose was to be able to rotate your rib cage back so that it could lie flat on the floor while your pelvis is turning towards the left. And then hang out there for a few breaths. You can stay longer if it feels good to you, otherwise we're going to move on. So to move on, you're just going to take that top knee, put it on the bottom knee and come back to center. And then go back and play with this again. Bring the left knee in, let it release. Take your time, just check out. Lower back doesn't change position, pelvis doesn't skew. Now start to rotate the leg out, back to parallel. So for me, this is the side that doesn't rotate as well, or it doesn't feel like it rotates as well as the other side. So now when the ankle wants to come across on the thigh, I know there's a few things that I like to do. So I'm going to try to minimize the right knee falling to the left. I'm going to try to minimize the left side of my pelvis hiking towards my rib cage, and I'm definitely going to try and keep some space in my lower back. And then right arm comes out to the side, left arm comes up to the ceiling. And then you're going to take that little twist to the right, bring your left foot right down, plant that on the floor. See if you can open the knee more to the ceiling instead of letting it collapse down. And then start to turn back, letting this left arm reach back behind you and turn your head to the left. Then hang out here, and again, a few breaths. Pay attention to how that left side feels. Is this a side that feels like it sits higher from the floor, flatter to the floor? Is it a side that you could visualize some part of those back ribs coming down toward the mat? But I think when you're hanging out in a stretch, it's never good to really kind of push and force. And in fact, sometimes the more you can just let go and relax, the better the soft tissue is able to respond to that. And then to come out of it, just bend the knees and come back to center. Then we're going to go back to that little shoulder bridge twist that we did day before yesterday, I think, or maybe back from that. So stay on the ground to begin with, knees hip width apart, and then bring the right leg up, rotate the leg out, and see if it allows you to thread the foot through that little gap between left heel and left bum cheek, and bring it back. And then play with that a few times. Now, if you can feel that this is the side that you don't rotate out so well, then can you help this side out by sitting into your right bum cheek and seeing if that helps the leg to come around? Because then you just have a valuable piece of information. You know that in order to accomplish this, the pelvis and the leg have to go together. But in an ideal world, that wouldn't really be the case until you had fully reached the limit of the hip joint. And then let the foot come down. Then do the same thing with the left leg, bring it in, and then rotate it and see how it goes with threading it through. So I can definitely feel on this side it's a lot more work to try and get enough rotation to thread the foot through. I couldn't at all about a year or so ago, but steady work on it, it's a lot better than it was. But initially I had to do what you might have to do of sit a little bit into that left bum cheek to let the leg come through, but really only let yourself sit the minimum that you need to. All right, now from here, come on up into bridge. So we played with this yesterday. Sit on that low area between your shoulder blades, lift the hips up. Now I want you to bring the arms up to the ceiling and see if you can hang out here while that right foot comes and threads behind the back of the left leg and put the foot down. And then the left leg does the same, comes, threads behind and comes in. And then this, for me, certainly this is the one where I can really feel the difference between the left leg, which feels really rock steady when I balance on it, and the right leg that doesn't. And so you kind of sometimes have this thing of, oh, the right leg is bad and the left leg is good because I can stand on it. But actually I know with my injury history, it's because the left leg has a fair bit of scar tissue, which makes it very stable, but it doesn't make it very flexible. So actually, if I was going to use words bad and good, which I try not to, that would not be the good leg. And then roll yourself all the way down, hug the knees in, and then rock on up. Now in seated, take the hands back behind you, and now play with the same sense of threading the leg through and bringing it back. And then the other leg threading through and coming back. We're going to go once more each way and coming back, and last one and coming back. And then we're going to finish by doing that back into the lift. So picking your bum up off the floor in a reverse shoulder bridge, and you could stay seated, and then threading the leg through and bringing it back, threading the leg through and bringing it back. And we're going to go 2 more on each side, threading through, coming back. Remember, you can sit on the floor and do this. You could lie on your back. You could even be on your elbows if that's better for your wrists right now. Okay, last one. And then that is all I have for you today. But tomorrow we will be adding on to this, and shortly we'll be coming back to taking the twist and turn a bit further and adding in the joy of the plank and the side plank.